Mermaid Junkies. You are watching Mermaid Junkie TV, a Mermaid Junkie's blueprint for how to create a life you love. So today I would love to talk about relationships, and in relationships, rescuers and takers, and want to rescue people. When we find our mate and we're looking for our mate, we're actually looking for someone to save. We're actually looking for someone to heal a part of us internally that we have not healed. It's a wound within us that we have not healed. And so we are actually looking for that particular mate that mirror images that particular wound within us. And a lot of times rescuers don't feel worthy, or we feel like that we're kind of ashamed to ask for what we want in life. Okay, so I said the one thing was rescuers feel that they're not worthy. We're not worthy to ask for what we really need in a relationship because, once again, we are lacking self-love. So we also feel that if we give and give and give. Have you ever felt like this? I know I have so many times, even not in just my relationship with Sailor, but my relationship with friends and different things like that. So kind of look and evaluate the relationship that you have with all people across the board, not just your intimate relationships. And I will bet you will find a connective between all of those things that feeds through. So one of the other things is that I had always felt like in relationships, in my marriage, in relationships that I've had in the past or friendships, whatnot, that I would give and give and give, and thinking ultimately that I would begin to receive what I wanted because I was giving so much of myself that of course I would get back what I needed and wanted, right? So we all want to be nurtured and loved and cared for. So we're going to in turn do that to the other person or our mate or whoever our significant other is. Most of the time as a rescuer, we choose takers. And the reason for this is because, you know, you've heard I'm sure you've heard this analogy, or I don't know if you would call it an analogy, but like opposites attract, that kind of thing. And in actuality, the law of attraction basically is you seek out that person that actually mirror images the exact way that you are. So it feels really great when this particular person that we found and have a relationship with is mirroring those wonderful, beautiful, and great qualities about us that we love about ourselves. But once they start to mirror image the lack and the wounds that are within us, we start to panic and have anxiety. Have you ever noticed that? When it's going really, really great, it's really, really good because they're mirror imaging our exact great qualities back to us. But when it goes bad, we start to see that same reflection of our bad and negative, unsavory qualities. So what happens is we don't want to see those things because we went through our entire life trying to avoid them consciously, but subconsciously, God or source or whoever you'd like to say is actually mirror imaging that person everywhere so that you will attract them in turn so that you can heal your internal wounds and your internal self-love, bringing that about. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So, okay, let's say, for instance, you think, okay, I'm going to give you an example of two people that are mirror imaging one another. So you can say, okay, well, say for instance, there's a class clown and there is a wallflower. Okay, and if you even want to do this, we can actually use Sailor and I as an example. Okay, Mitch is a class clown. I am a wallflower when we met, right? But what happened was we were both exuding in the original aspect of our relationship. When we met, we were exuding our negative quality, which was we both had a sense of anxiety, right? So instead of him pursuing the anxiety in a wallflower way, he exuded that through being the class clown, acting up so that he would get attention, right? And feel cared for and nurtured and loved, right? To be rescued in a sense, okay? Whereas I was feeling anxiety also, but because but in a sense, we both had anxiety, but we just dealt with it in a different way. Does that make sense? So the origin is the same, but we just went about it in two different ways, which it actually is a mirroring image, but we don't think it is because they're almost camouflaged by a different aspect. So what happens is when I'm looking for this in Mitch to rescue me, to come make me feel that I'm worth it, to make me feel worthy of him taking care of me, I'm actually thinking that he is going to heal me in that way. But the problem with this is, you guys, is that we are trying to heal ourselves externally through the other person. Have you ever noticed that's why a lot of people, when they get in relationships and then you've heard that term, they try to fix you. You like them in the beginning and you love how they are, but all of a sudden you don't like how they are anymore and you want to fix them. Well, that's the exact reason, is that you're trying to fix what's in you through the external, that person that's mirroring you. So you can't ever do it. So it becomes exacerbating once you start to realize that, like, this isn't working. Like, you start to see all those unsavory things about yourself because, once again, you're rejecting healing yourself because you're trying to heal that other person and you can't do it that way. So we become exacerbated because we get frustrated and angry and thinking it's that person, but it's actually you just mirroring your own self. And so you're not healing your own self. You're looking to heal yourself through that other person. Like, say for instance, there's this handsome guy and he's very bubbly and energetic and entertaining and he's funny and comedic. And he has a tendency to get in relationships with women that are very beautiful, okay? And they are wonderful and gorgeous, and they exude all these beautiful aspects that he loves about them, right? Okay, but what happens is eventually throughout the relationship, he starts to realize that what she is really beautiful externally, and he sees that, but she has all these problems, and she's this, and she's more caught up in her appearance, and she has a lot of unresolved issues, and da-da-da-da. So what do you think's happening there? It's actually him having tried to heal himself, but now he's seeing his reflective image of an unsavory attitude. Maybe he's, you know what I'm saying? He's realizing that she's mirroring that, I'm not good enough. I look good on the outside, but I have a lot of stuff going on in the inside, and so I don't feel good about myself. And so actually he starts to panic because he realizes he is getting these women, and he's doing this because that is how he's trying to fix himself externally through the women he's dating. Relationships. It could be significant others. It could be your family. It could be your friendships, or any relationship that you have. Pay attention to how it begins, and then if it ends, how it dissipates and what actually happens. And so I'll give you an example for me. So I noticed that when I did this exercise for myself, that I had always wanted, I always sought out people that were loners. So basically, Mitch Saylor being a comedian, comedians and people that are not emotionally available to me. So I would, you think comedians aren't going to be very lonely, but I think in actuality, they're very, very lonely people. And so that is what I was reflecting, like mirror imaging back, is that I am a very lonely person. So I would always attract lonely people, loners. So I would initially continually be lonely. Men that are emotionally unavailable for me, and recognize that is exactly what I sought out. And my friendships became the same way. So when the relationships ended, they all have ended about in the same way, which is they just dissipated. They just went away. That person wasn't there for me anymore. They just stopped calling or stopped texting or stopped being involved in my life. And I had always been the rescuer. I keep trying and trying and trying, but then you give up. Especially now, I feel like I'm in that healing mode. And so I'm trying to heal my own wounds so that I don't have to rely on that person to rescue me. I'm trying to allow Heavenly Father to rescue me along with myself through self-love. So that's what you want to do, is really try to identify what those symptoms are and what you are drawn to in relationships, why it ends unsavory. Okay, that is your key to understanding what you are, like where you are desiring to be rescued and how that is. Everybody's is different, but initially, I think we're all trying to be rescuers because we really want to rescue ourselves. So look at that. You'll find that answer, and then you will also be able to know how to rehabilitate, which is to love yourself. I keep saying it over and over again. I would love to leave that with you. I hope that you subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoy this. And if you can think of anybody else that is that likes this kind of stuff, like psychology or human behavior, or why we do things that we do, or has an unsavory relationship and you know that they may be struggling with this rescuer-taker syndrome, maybe you can pass it along to them and share it with them. I would so appreciate it. Thank you so much. And as always, I'm yours into my next swim. Ciao.